Hello and welcome to Jennifer Knatters. I'm Jennifer and this is my knitting and nattering video podcast. This is episode 50. Yay! It's kind of a surprise that I got this far, and also I kind of thought I'd get there a fair bit earlier. When I started, I was doing a weekly podcast, and now it's been almost 5 weeks since I uploaded the last one. I'm gonna blame that on coronavirus. I think right now we can blame just about everything on living with coronavirus, or at least in a coronavirus world. So I didn't think I had enough to talk about to talk, and then when I kind of got it all together today, I have a lot of stuff. So we'll see if we get to everything. I'm in lockdown with my family in northern Scotland. I live with my husband. I'm sorry, the light color is changing as the sun goes behind the trees. I live in northern Scotland with my husband, my 2 girls, age 7 and 3, and 2 cats. And it really is just us. We don't have any family in the area. So our lockdown has been our lockdown. We are very lucky. We have a large garden. We live in a very quiet area where we've got the woods behind us that are a lot of fun to walk in. We're very well set up here, so that's fine. The kind of going a bit stir crazy because we're bored, I think everybody's got that if they're lucky. I think that is absolutely the luckiest thing. See, now the sun is right up there. I closed the blinds on this side because I thought the sun was ever so slightly more around the corner. I'm just gonna let it. I should really do something about that, shouldn't I? Hold on. I will close the blind. Sorry about that. I think this will help a little bit. I've just closed the blind right up there. I am in the conservatory, so the roof is slightly opaque plastic, and I can't do anything about that. So the light will continue to change, but I've done my best. Hopefully this won't be too washed out. So yeah, it has been about 5 weeks. I'm just going to scooch the camera a little bit. It has been about 5 weeks since I have uploaded a video, and I actually have, I don't know if I have a lot to show for 5 weeks, but I have a lot to show. I was going to start with the knitting stuff, not knitting stuff, sewing stuff. I am mostly a knitter, but I have been one of the ladies in the Arnold Colorford knitting group online where I tend to hang out on Ravelry. Is a quilter, and she's been doing some weekend classes, Sunday morning classes, teaching sewing. So, oops, sorry about that. The first thing we did was the Brenda bag, which I think I mentioned last time. And this is just, it's a very big bag, and it is in fact a little too big. I think I'd like it if it was even just a little bit shorter. So I may lop the top off, unpick the stitching for my drawstring thing, sandwich everything together, and then just sew it across. It's not an ideal way to do the top of a bag. Usually you start with the top of the bag, but for making it shorter, I think that would be best. So I've got my very big Brenda bag that I think I showed last time. And then we spent a couple of weeks, oh, it's got some string stuck on it. It did not have these last time I looked at it. And then the next one, the dimensions she gave were for just a little notions pouch that has this kind of letterbox style zip pocket, and then a top zip. And I, of course, in my infinite silliness, made them close in opposite directions. I tried really hard to make sure they were going to close in the same direction, and I guess because it was halfway, I got confused which way they were both halfway to sew them in, and I got confused which way was coming or going. So I added a strap and did slightly larger dimensions and made this really nice project bag. I would say this would be a good size for a single skein shawl or 2 at the time socks. I don't think you can see the inside at all. I've got top stitching. Yay, top stitching. Top stitching around the zipper. There's a little pocket which goes almost to the bottom of the bag. It goes to just above, like half an inch, maybe a quarter inch above where the bottom of the bag sits. It's a really nice size. I'm really happy with this. The strap, and then if I was knitting while walking, I could have the string coming out. Yeah, so I'm really happy with the way this turned out. She did little tabs over the top. I did double top stitching on that, and I know there was a reason, which wasn't aesthetics, but having done it on one side because something didn't catch. Oh, I think the fabric folded under hadn't caught on the bottom. If you can hear the pounding, my next door neighbor is a rugby player, and obviously rugby's not happening right now, but he does work out every day, many hours every day, because being physically fit is his job. So he is obviously doing weights, because I can hear him dropping the weights on the ground. Sometimes I'm in my kitchen. Our kitchen looks towards their driveway where he works out, and sometimes over the fence I can just see his head pop up and then go down and pop up because he's jumping up on a box or a bench or a chair or something. Probably like a milk crate, although I don't know if the UK has milk crates, but jumping up on something, jumping down. He is very physically fit. So if you can hear that, I'm sorry. I've got the windows open. It was March, half of March was really sunny and warm, and half of April was really sunny and warm, and May was really sunny and warm, and here we are the 13th of June, and it's basically rained and been cold almost every day so far June, and then just this afternoon it has gotten really humid. I am from California. I am from a place of droughts and zero humidity. I have not cut out for humidity, the least little bit of humidity, and I'm like, oh, it's really humid here. Dry heat never bothered me. Nowhere near hot, humid, and I'm just dying. I am not cut out for humidity. Having finished my zippered Brenda bag, she did a class. She kind of rallied the troops and convinced some of us to do a summer sampler quilt along that is being held elsewhere, but we're chatting about it in the group. And so 3 of the blocks involve precision piecing. So she helped us find a free block online and just do a little one. This fabric is scraps that are left over from something I made for Christina, my 7-year-old, when she was like 9 months old. A little smock I made her that was reversible, and had the flowers on one side and the gingham on the other, and then a reverse patch pocket. So this is what I made. I don't have any more of this fabric. That was 7 years ago that I bought it as a kit. There's no chance I'd be able to get any more of this. But what you do is you line it up on the block, and then you sew along the seam, and then you line up the next bit and fold it over, and then you sew along the seam, and then you go around, and then you sew the 2 pieces together. I've taken the paper off the center seams so it won't be so bulky, but she recommends leaving it on the paper until you have sewn around the edges. So I still have it on the paper for now. I have no idea what I'm going to do with this. This is a 6-inch block. It is not very big. I might just keep it as a, look, I made a thing. This was really fun. This was not stressful at all. This was fun. This felt like it made a lot of sense to me. I feel like I would do more of this. If I was going to do quilting, this might be my type of quilting or embellishing. So that was last weekend, and then after I finished that, I did the first block for the summer sampler, and this is a trellis. It's kind of got a tartan kind of thing this is my main color, and then I've got a teal gradient set, a purple gradient set, and then I picked out 3 fat quarters in 3 different shades of pink. 2 of my pinks look almost the same. There's very little distance between them. I ordered them online. I got what I got, but that's fine because I'm kind of I have the same amount of fabric that the pattern calls for, but I don't have the quantities and the different colors that it asked for. And I'm just gonna kind of wing it. And so yeah, that's my first block. The second block came out on Monday. Today is Saturday, but I haven't done it yet. But I read through the instructions and it looks really simple for a value of simple. It looks really straightforward, I guess I should say. So I'm looking forward to doing that, and I just haven't done it yet. I was working on a jersey shirt, a tunic for Catherine, my 3-year-old, that I bought right after she turned 2, and then she stopped napping, so I stopped having time to sit down and sew. But now she's just that little bit older. They're playing well together. Thank anything that could contribute to them getting along really well. But they're playing really well together. That's what they're doing right now. They were playing in the 7-year-old's room, which she used to not let the 3-year-old in there at all. So they're very happy playing together. So I can sometimes, on Sundays, sneak off and do a little bit of sewing. So that is what I've done sewing-wise. The shirt I had stopped because I needed bias binding for the neckline and the sleeves, but because I wound up cutting a larger size, I cut the 4-year-old size rather than the 2-year-old size. She had been a slightly small for her age 2-year-old, so I was going to do the 2-year-old size. I don't have enough fabric left over to make bias binding, so I ordered some online and then kind of just lost my gumption, lost the working on it. So I have that now. It's a different color of pink. There were 2 shades of pink for the bias binding that I ordered, and I got the one that I thought would be more like hers, and I think I should have gone with the other one because hers is kind of a bubblegum pink, and the one I ordered, wound up being like a hot pink. But I don't think she'll mind, and frankly I think she'd rather have a dress than not have a dress. So I need to finish that and get it ready for her. The only reason I haven't worked on it in a little bit is my machine is currently set up for the quilting, and changing to the walking foot for doing the stretch fabric is a tiny bit of a faff. So that's why I hadn't worked on it when I was doing some sewing. Moving on to knitting, I have a finished object. Actually, I have 3. Well, one of them's crochet. I have some finished objects. These are Rum Paradise, I think is the color. This is West Yorkshire Spinners. They're Cocktails range, self-striping sock. And as you can see, I did a contrast heel and cuff. These are both knit toe up. The only thing, I don't know if you can tell, but the yellow of the heel is more mustardy than the yellow of the stripe. And this is their pinky purple, which is neither the color of the pink nor the purple. I think this one is sarsaparilla and this one is saffron. But I'm really bad with the names. But yeah, this one's a mustardy yellow, and this one's more of an ever so slightly peachy yellow. From a distance, I don't think anyone can tell. I don't even think the stripe being a different color for the pink shows up particularly all that much. But there are my finished stripy socks, which were very happy. I guess I finished them last weekend, and it was very nice to have brightly colored socks as the weather continued to be gray and blah. And then my other finished object is a test knit for Jessie May, and she has Jessie Made, M-A-E-D is her Ravelry shop name. And this is, I'm sorry, the light's going through it. This is a children's version of the ribbed tank, ribbed sleeved like camisole. And I knit this in Wendy Happy, which is a bamboo cotton blend sock yarn that was discontinued a number of years ago. And as I picked this up and started working with it, I picked it both because it would be a nice, cool fabric and because the pattern suggested it would use over 100 grams and they're 150 gram balls, and I had 2 of them, so I knew I had plenty of this. I did not finish one. I went over 100 grams, but I did not finish off a full ball of this. But I knew I had enough of it. And the stripes look really nice. It was really a pain to knit with. If you split the yarn, you couldn't get it unsplit. Like you couldn't get the plies to twist back together properly. And it has 0 memory for stretch. I washed it and blocked it and it basically didn't bounce back at all. I knit the size 8. I test knit the size 8. You can kind of see like the front ribbing got stretched out more than the side. When it's on, it'll be fine. But my 7-year-old, I asked her if the yarn would be okay, like if she liked the color before I started it, and she said she did. When I finished, like she tried it on several times while I was working on it. Ooh, my son is, this is much better. Oh, there it goes again. The whole time I was working on it, she said yes, she tried it on, she liked it. I finished it, I woven, well I guess I hadn't woven in the end yet, but I finished it and I gave it to her, and she came back and gave me a little written note that says, "I don't think I look good in blue." So I will give this to the 3-year-old. If it hadn't kind of stretched out a bit while it was blocking, which it was supposed to do, like it was supposed to, you block it and you kind of stretch it out a little bit, but I could get it wet and let it dry more scrunched up. But I'll give it to the 3-year-old because it's ribbing, it's super stretchy, and it will shrink down to a size that will fit her. Or maybe my 7-year-old will change her mind and want the top. I don't know. Anyway, she doesn't like it, so she doesn't have to have it. On the subject of, well, I guess almost finished knits, will be my In Canola by Carrie Westerman. I do not have any live yarn on this. I've woven in all the ends except the sleeve because I have finished everything except the sleeves. I tried it on and it fits, or at least when it has buttons to hold the button band together, it will fit. It has a bit of negative ease, so you let go of it and it does pop open. This is the In Canola by Carrie Westerman, which has this lovely mock cable on the back, and then on either side of the button band. And yeah, it fits really nice. It's a crop look. I was thinking about making the sleeves longer, but I think with the crop length and long sleeves, it'll look like I'm wearing a Regency Spencer. Like I really think it'll give it that kind of costumey kind of feel. And this is where I was last time I showed it to you. I was on the first sleeve. I think that might even be the point I will rip back to and then do ribbing, because I like the length of this sleeve, but if I add ribbing it's going to be that much longer. And in this one I made it a bit longer, and I just don't like the length on that side as much. I was going to do long sleeves because I feel like if you're putting on a warm cardigan, you're going to want your arms to be warm. Someone's coming. Christina has come to join me, and I realized I forgot to mention one finished object, which is behind me, this rainbow blanket. And I'm actually really happy because both ends, I started with this corner with a bit of teal and I ended this corner with a bit of teal, the blue. So this will be Christina's blanket. She has asked if she can have it and I said yes. And it is a corner to corner crochet blanket in the Serdar color wheel. This color is something like rainbow. It's got a color number, but not a, and the purple would have been there. Purple to green to blue to green to yellow to orange to pink. The only thing I would change about it is that purple to green. I would have just gone purple to blue, but it is wonderful and it is brightly colored and it is cheerful, and if the edges wobble a bit, it was my first crochet blanket. So that happens, and I feel like I'm a much better crocheter for having made this blanket. I think this was my 4th ball of yarn. I didn't use that much of it. So yeah, I'm very happy with that. Are you happy with it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Can I have it?
Yes, you may have it. And if you notice, ta-da, rainbow stripey happiness. It was basically the kind of thing you want to have. You're going to be really warm if you wrap up in that. It's kind of warm in here, pumpkin. Oh, she's all wrapped up in it. So, yeah, I was talking about my In Canola cardigan. It is, knit in the Blacker Classic DK, which is what the pattern calls for. I believe that yarn has now been discontinued. So I got a bunch in the discontinue sale. So yeah, that's my final finished object, and those are my works in progress that I've actually worked on. I made a push to finish the test knit t-shirt because that was on a timeline. Jessie May said that there's been a bereavement in her family, and so she's not going to be able to publish. The pattern was supposed to come out last weekend, I think, or last week, but she's pushing back the pattern releases on those.
Mom, why can't I have public videos?
We can talk about this later, Pumpkin, okay?
How do you make videos that are private to be
Can we talk about this later, Pumpkin? Okay, thank you. I do have one other work in progress, which is the second sock. These are for my husband, and this is a charity colorway. I believe it's called Learning to Swim, and I can't remember if it was version 1 or version 2.
Wait, is it version 1 and version 2?
Of the colorway, yes. I got the one that had more colors and was more splodgy, so we have very splodgy socks. I don't know why the red is pulling around on that one, and on this one it's kind of just doing a zigzag. I have the same stitch count. I'm using the same needles. I don't think my tension has changed dramatically from one sock to the other. This is actually, I knew a fair bit of this and had to rip it back and redo it, and then this one I had started it and got to like there, and then I had to rip it all back because I realized I had cast on 2 fewer stitches for the second sock, and I had to redo it with the correct number, which I figured out because the pooling was just straight, like it was just doing a straight line. So I don't know why now it's doing a zigzag instead of a barber pole like the first one. I don't know. I do not understand the ways.
I think when you went back, you started with a different colour and that made it different.
Yeah, that shouldn't change the way it pools, but my husband will be very happy with bright pooling happy socks, and I am just at the point, I think I've got like 3 more rows, and then I'm going to do the heel. So yeah, I believe it was at this point on the first sock that I cast on my rainbow socks so that I would still have walking around socks while I did the heel turn at home. Heel turns are not really walking around portions of the sock. So that's that. But yeah, I was working on the t-shirt because that was a deadline. my rainbow socks just kind of happened to be the ones I was walking around with. Oh, because I had to restart the second one of these. I finished the blanket because it was almost done for Christina, who is still, I don't know if you can see her, she is still sat next to me. There she is. And then I was working on my Canola one, but I need to pull back the sleeves a bit and redo those. So I was actually, from having nothing to show on any of my projects, suddenly I've managed to finish off a bunch. What's Catherine doing?
Watching her pad.
Okay. Is that your bracelet?
Mm-hmm.
My birthday has come and gone since last we spoke. I'm now 39 years old, and the only person who did anything, Christina made me a little snow globe with a snow globe kit that she'd gotten for her 6th birthday, and Catherine brought me one of her boots with some of her toys in it, and my friend Miss Chrissy sent me flowers, which are beautiful and lovely and wonderful, and that's it. And then like a week later, my godparents back in the US sent me a birthday card. So it was kind of an underwhelming birthday. But one of my online friends, hearing my self-pity party, gave me a gift certificate for the Arnold Culliford web shop. So I got Hunter Hammerson's most recent book, which is Shoreland, and it is a collection of socks. And she is so good at matching beautiful socks, well, beautiful yarns with beautiful patterns. These are the ones I think I want to make first. But it is a really nicely produced book. There's a nice matte texture on the cover with the silver. Does that feel nice?
Mm-hmm.
The silver foil, and they each start with a little essay on things she has found on the beach in Maine. What, pumpkin?
Why did the first video that I make was a time lapse?
Can we talk about this later?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you. So I got that book with my gift card, and then off of my wish list I picked Amy Herzog's Ultimate Sweater book. I have been buying sweater quantities of yarn and not necessarily knitting them up, and there is a specific jumper in here, a pullover, that I would like to make, which is this one in her author photo. Ta-da! I don't know if that's focusing properly, but that one, it's tunic length, and it's got the pockets, and it's got a big cable one. And I don't know if you remember the purple one I made with the big cable down the front is also one of her designs. And I think if I had known about this, I might have done this one instead.
Mum?
Because it's only in the book and not one of her.
People might watch this video before that video.
Might they?
Because
Do you sometimes watch videos out of order? Yeah. But yeah, I've knit, that was one of the custom fit ones I knit, my purple pullover with the cable down the front, and I really enjoyed knitting it, and I've got lots of yarn to knit other ones, so there's a lot in here on, I haven't even had a chance to read through it very much, but there's so much on making, like how to construct and knit a sweater, and obviously get it to fit you. Getting things to fit is sweaters to fit is one of her things. So yeah, there's wonderful patterns in there that I'm very excited to have a wee look at. And I also bought some yarn. Some of this predates my birthday funk, and some of it does not. In order of arrival, I did get some Knitting Goddess. This is BFL nylon, which I thought was a sock yarn, but then when I got it, it's a very loose 2-ply, so it's very pretty, and I believe it's a self-striping, but it's not something I would knit socks out of. So will see what I will decide to do with that.
You can make another one of these for Catherine.
Yeah, and I got a set of rainbow minis from her as well. And this is the same base.
Are you friends?
With whom?
The girl that likes those knitting books that you like.
I believe I am friends with Hunter Hammerson, online friends, but not with Amy Herzog. Is that what you're asking?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I placed an order with the sock yarn shop. Toot, toot, toot. Oh. Okay, we'll take that out. The sock yarn shop. And I got some cotton blend.
Are these?
Wait, we're not talking about those yet. These came, I thought I ordered 100 gram, but it came as 250 grams. So I don't know if that was me not paying attention as I ordered 250 grams or if she's just listed them as one. I really couldn't tell you. But these will be nice striping socks. I like self-striping socks if that isn't, I think that was a cotton blend. No, I can't remember. No, this is wool. These are just regular wool. These are the cotton ones, which is an opal cotton one. I have another pair. The last time they came out with this blend, the cotton blend, the sock yarn. And these are the only socks I have that I have to wear as princess socks. I turn them inside out so that the knit side is against my foot and not the purl side.
Look at my long blade.
Yes, darling, hold on. And I got a set of perfect pair socks. So you start with the yellow, and then if you start right after the yellow on both socks, you get perfectly matching stripes. And this is an 8-ply, so this will be DK socks, which I'm very, very fond of. And then Christina has my minis. Did you take them all out?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Now I'm trying to remember. There's the thing. These are from Giddy Yarns, and she's just done some one-off 10-ply minis that were all neatly arranged in the box. So these are just intended to be non-repeating colorways, and I particularly liked this set, so I got it for my scrap yarn blanket. I cannot get them all back in there properly, but there's...
What's a scrap yarn blanket?
Do you know my blanket made up of the little squares?
Uh-huh.
Well, if you have leftover bits and bobs in small amounts of yarn, that would be scrap yarn. But I keep buying new yarn for my scrap yarn blanket, don't I? So it's not really scraps. Christina, careful. So I think that's just about everything I wanted to cover craft-wise. Very little to say family-wise. We've been doing the schooling at home. My husband works in a detached office in the garden, so that hasn't changed. And yeah, we're stuck home together. We're still getting food delivered just fine. Yeah, that's it on the home front. And yeah, so I will talk to you when I next have things to show, finished objects to show. And yeah, until then, I hope you and yours are safe and as happy as you can be, and that the police stop killing black people. And yeah, here in Scotland, the infection rate, the R, as they refer to it, the R number, is the lowest in the UK. It is like 0.6, I think, is the average for Scotland. Here in Inverness, we've
There's
been very
a baby bird on my roof.
wonderful. here in Inverness, we have been very lightly touched. And I was saying to one of my friends that I would feel very confident, like if they eased the restrictions, I would feel very confident interacting with people, with the mask, obviously.
It's a baby pigeon.
Wonderful. Until they open for tourists and people start coming into the community, because I feel the community doesn't have a large
Oh, it's so cute.
coronavirus presence. So yeah, that's kind of where we are, and hopefully I will record another video before you've entirely forgotten about me. And yeah, thank you for watching.
How would she forget about you?
How would who forget about me?
How would the person watching this video forget about you?
Well, if it takes forever for me to do another video and they don't hear anything from me, they might entirely forgot that they sometimes watch videos from me. Anyway, thank you, and I'll talk to you again. Bye.